You've been really eloquent about talking what the big game means after you've won it. You got the floor.
Yeah.
Be eloquent.
Oh, well, it's probably going to sound a lot like the last 3 years, but they all count the same in the win-loss column, right? We all know that. The wins count the same. It's one tick mark in the win or the loss column each time you play. But they don't feel the same. I mean, that's just being honest. And we appreciate every win because it's hard to win. But when you experience the big game, especially if you've been in it for some time, you understand how much it means to, the alumni, the student body, the administration, anybody that's connected with Cal. And I say this every year, and I mean it. In my professional life, I don't know that there's a better feeling I've had than just being a witness after a big game victory. Not sitting in there basking in the glory, but really just seeing the response of the fans, the alumni, the student body, and how much it means to them. And selfishly, it's like that's the best feeling there is. In our players, first and foremost, watching them, but just the response to the victory in a big game there's nothing like it. So I'm just honored to be a part of it, and I'm so proud of the team to find a way. And we've had a lot of tight games this year, and they certainly haven't all gone our way, and hoped that we would do better, but man, they never quit, and they keep fighting, and they strain, and found a way to win, and that means a lot.
Jim McGill with Bear Insider. Justin, you guys, it was looking a little bleak with the 21-7 deficit late in the game, and rather than the typical ball control type passing offense, you guys were stretching the field a little bit of overthrows, but some big plays too. Any thought to maybe expanding the playbook going on the next 2 games of the season, opening things up?
We've been talking for a couple months about trying to get the ball vertically down the field, post routes, go routes, deep overs. We haven't had as much success doing that for a variety of reasons. Coverages, matchups, protections, throws, whatever. It's certainly something we want to do more. It's something we talk about a lot. And how are we going to get the ball? We'd like to get the ball launched 10 times a game. It doesn't always go that way. So it's an area we can, get better at for sure. But it came up today. We had a couple opportunities that didn't quite connect that you probably saw. And that's an area where maybe, QB receivers, we can try to do better there. But we made them when it counted, which was great.
Joaquin Ruiz with the Daily Californian. Coach, can you talk about your team's resiliency? There was a handful of times this game where Stanford had a lot of momentum and you guys just kept clawing back. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I thought there was some obvious moments in the game where you really, it's the time to step up and puff your chest out in adversity. So we start the second half with the ball and go 3 and out. Not ideal, especially with the game like it was. And then we punt it, and then there's a penalty on the punt. So they start near midfield. Stanford's hard to stop when they get the ball in 4-down territory. So they move the ball down the field. We have a couple opportunities to stop them. They get down. We have them stopped on a third. The quarterback, who was a really tough matchup for us today to get on the ground, he scrambles around. We have it covered. He scrambles around, gets to the 2-yard line as opposed to maybe the 10 or 12, and then they go for it on 4th and 2. They get the trick play, which we didn't play great but still had a chance to make. So they make that one. Then they kick the ball off, and we fumble the kickoff. So that swing right there, 3 and out. Punt it. They get some 3rd, 4th down stops, 3rd, 4th down conversions. 4th and 2, they connect. Then they kick it off and we fumble. Like there's a time where small people and weak people could find a way out. It's like, holy smokes, not our day, not going my way. That's a lot of people would do that, quite honestly. But, the defense bowed up and forced a field goal. And then bad snap, no blood. We get the ball back. It doesn't go perfect, but that swing in the game was huge. And then we were able, late in the game, when we got them back in their territory, our defense was able to get off the field. 3rd down stop, make them punt, and then they had a couple 4th and goes, and we stopped them. And the offense obviously had the 98-yard drive. They had the first drive, had some plays. Fernando makes a great play, gets it to JB, gets in the end zone, and then the last drive, there's a number of plays that were critical. But I just, I think we all take for granted that athletes and teams, you never quit, you never give up. Well, some people might. It's human nature when things aren't going your way, and The guys didn't do that. And that, to me, I couldn't be more proud of anything like other than that, like the not giving up, to keep straining, to keep being tough and stick your chest out. And when it gets hard, that's when we need your best. Because when things are going well and every play works your way and the scores, you get out in front big, like anybody can be the man in those situations. It's when it gets really hard. And so really proud of the guys for stepping up in those moments. So.
Thomas Dunn, right for California. Justin, two-parter here. First one, how's the heart rate after that fourth quarter?
I probably more even than you think. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, like it's an emotional game, but really try to stay somewhat even to make the good decisions that we need to make during the game. But yeah, I'm good. Thanks for asking.
All right. Secondly, all season you've talked about Fernando's grit, toughness, and leadership. How do you even begin to describe all of that on display from that final drive?
I mean, he took the field. He'll tell you, it probably wasn't his best outing. There's things that he could have done better, but there's never going to be questioning of Fernando's toughness, grit. I mean, the guy, and he gets hit. Sometimes he shouldn't get hit, whether it's protection or he needs to throw the ball away. But he's just not he just doesn't flinch. He won't flinch. He's not perfect. He's going to continue to get better as a football player, but he will never flinch. I know that.
Justin, you alluded a couple of times to the 98-yard drive, but does that have the feel of something that's going to sort of go down in big game lore? And you imagine people talking about it years from now. 98 yards, you were on your 2.
We were.
It hadn't been going great. And somehow you put together an 11-play drive and scored. You just talk about.
Yeah, no, good question. I don't know. I should ask you. You're the ones that write about it. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. The players, again, this is probably when we watched the video and we were talking on the sideline. Again, we have these tablets. Like, there's plenty of plays out there to be made and plenty of yards to be had. We felt like we had some places where we could win matchups. And so it wasn't. We didn't take the field like hoping. It was like we know we can go. We just have to execute it better. We have to throw and catch. We got to block. We got to break a tackle. Got to make a contested catch maybe. But we felt confident in the guys doing their job and being successful. So it wasn't blind faith going out there for anybody on the team. We just needed to execute better. And if we had done that, earlier in the game more often, then it probably doesn't come down to that, 98-yard drive. But it did, and found a way, and then it'll give you something to write about, and those kids to be really proud of, and they should.
Cody Henderson from the League Winners. Coach, quite a few guys have had their number called this season, and today was Jonathan Brady. What did you think of his performance today and the impact he had on today's game?
What were his final numbers here? 5 for 64. Caught a couple screens. Valuable yardage, but the obvious ones are the last 2 touchdowns. The first one, Fernando steps up, looks like he's going to scramble. Brady snaps the route off, goes to the corner, and Fernando's got a really strong arm and put the ball right on him. And he still had to make the catch, but good job running the route, and a great play by Fernando. And then the last one, that was a contested play. Flag came out, and he still made it. Again, a really good throw by Fernando, but that was a heck of a play. So there's a reason he led the cheer in the locker room there. Jonathan Brady did.
Just in your news conference on Tuesday, we talked about Miles Williams and Craig Woodson.
Yeah.
They're now one of the few Cal players who are on the roster for 5 winning big games.
Yeah. Wow.
So how do you react to that, and what have they?
The coach,
meant?
you say that, the coach in me is like, well, we should have won the other one. Okay. No, I don't know if that's healthy or not, but that's how I think. But they'll talk about that forever. They'll talk about this game forever. They're going to probably forget about some of those practices we had and those early morning meetings and walkthroughs, but they're going to talk about that forever, and they're going to come back here like so many Cal greats have. And you can't put a price on that stuff, especially in this era with all the movement. We've had guys that moved in here and helped us win the big game. They're going to appreciate it, and they'll appreciate it more with age. You know, it's hard to be here for 6 months and have a true appreciation for what this game means. We try to educate them, and they got a really good feeling after. But those guys being here for that long and having that experience, I mean, there's no, you can put a price on that. And I don't want to speak for them. I think a lot of those guys, man, I could sit up there and talk forever about them. But, you know, in this era of guys moving and all that, to say you played in that many big games, rivalry games, and had success, like that's pretty cool.
David Ayers, Football Images. Coach, you basically talked about it somewhat, but not only those two individuals, they've had 5, but you now have a senior class, other than redshirting in 2020, which you lost, that is undefeated in the big game. What does that mean to you, your staff, and the program?
Well, yeah, we're trying to win every big game, trying to win every game on the schedule. I don't want to speak for them. I think they'll be able to answer it, you know, in a way that's true to them. But again, it's just the memories and the, you know, throughout the week, we talk about the big game. We talk about it in fall camp. There's a lot of people on our staff who have participated in it. There's a lot of notable alumni who have either sent video messages in or visited us at practice, whether it's during preseason camp or this week. And it just, it just it's different. And for those guys to have that success throughout those years, like, just makes me feel, really, really good for them, proud of them, and something, again, that they'll hold on to. And this game's about memories. There's a guy who visited and talked to the team yesterday. Really good quarterback. Probably the best quarterback, and that's what he talked about.
Because the last time a class went through without losing the axe, you were on staff, if I'm not mistaken, or at least for part of it.
Part of it, yeah, and that was the start of it, and talking to the team about what that win can mean and how that can catapult the team forward and what that can do for, obviously, the morale of the community and the Cal football community. It's just like there's nothing like that. Like, there's no way to substitute that energy and morale other than winning the big game.
Just wanted to ask you a little bit more about the 2004 guys back here, 10-2, 7th ranked. You coached a lot of those guys, and what kind of input did they give beyond talking about the implications of a big game win before or after the game? Were the interactions with the players real positive?
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't like what's said in the team meeting is said in the team meeting, and that's not necessarily for everybody, but there's a lot of, that 2004, I want to say it was like 80 or 90 guys that were able to come back. And, the 2003 team was sitting at 5-5 going to the big game, won the big game, and we went to a bowl game against Virginia Tech. And that next year, we were really good. And so a lot of those players were back, and it's pretty awesome because those memories we're talking about, like, that's what they're sitting up there enjoying with each other. They're talking about the games and the locker room and the things that maybe people, it's the teammate things and the sacred locker room discussions and those type of things. And for them to be able to come back and talk about that, they express that to our guys, and just how special that is. And it's hard when you're in it to know, how much it really means, and then you get a little distance from it, and you have some different feelings about it. And so all those 2004 guys that were around just talked about that. Obviously the importance of the big game, but just the teammates and how much it means to be a part of something.
All right, we got 2 more questions right here in the front.
Michelle Moshkovoy, the Daily Californian. Coach, you've talked about at length the rich tradition of the big game, but specifically playing at Memorial Stadium in a sold-out crowd this year. I mean, compared to Palo Alto, like, what does it mean playing in Berkeley?
Well, it's the best. I mean, there's just nothing like that. There isn't. I wish you could bottle it and hold on to it, and once in a while crack it open and feel it. But that's what makes it so special, because you don't get it every day, and you have to earn it throughout the year, and when it's your opportunity to play at home and do that in front of a home crowd. It's just, that's the drug of football and the game and the competition, and you cannot buy it. You can't find it when you're gone, even if you play in the NFL. College football and the rivalry games and the camaraderie of teams, even with new players, there's nothing like it. And when it's gone, it's gone. And you only got so many opportunities. But no matter how successful you are in business or life, there's nothing like that feeling. And that's what makes it so special. And honestly, that's probably the closest thing we can do. Is probably why I coach, is like to get as close to that as possible. But there's nothing like being a player and living those moments.
Yeah, Justin, can you give me at least the gist of what Aaron said?
He was just talked about his experience here, how meaningful it was, how proud he is, and the team, Yeah, and when it comes from a guy like that, I mean, I was here when he was here, and it was such a special time. And again, that 2003, we went and got bowl eligible, went to the Insight Bowl in that 2004 team, and he was our leader and phenomenal teammate. And again, a once-in-a-lifetime talent, but to have him standing here and talk to the team was meaningful. Him walking in the room, that was pretty special for our players, everybody, special for everybody. So we would really appreciate him. He's a busy guy. He's got a lot of demands on his time. And for him to come out here and talk to our team and players and be engaged like that, it's that's really special.
One last question with Jeff.
Justin, we've talked about the meaning of the big game, but we haven't talked about the fact that you're now officially bowl eligible.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about what that means for the program and for your guys?
Yeah. Well, winning a bowl game's one of our goals every year. There have been a number of opportunities for us to get to that sixth win throughout the year, and it was tough. There's some very difficult losses in there, and there was frustration throughout, living through some of those losses, but never hopeless. And so there's a difference in that, frustrated, expecting a little more. So you win those games, but not hopeless. And so the guys kept practicing and playing and competing and fighting. And when your best players carry the torch and how they prepare, the Craig Woodsons of the world and, Jack and Fernando and those guys, and when they carry the torch and what it means to prepare and compete, then you're always going to have a chance. And so it means a lot. It's practice, it's development, it's a chance for more wins, and it's one of the goals we set at the beginning of the year. So proud of them for accomplishing, the bowl berth, but now it'll be finishing the regular season